live on Facebook and YouTube.
Hello guys, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. May alak pa kayo dyan?
And nakaka-announce lang, it's a holiday daw for tomorrow.
Hindi siya holiday, non-working
That's
day
non-working holiday. Oh yeah, non-working. Okay. Bruce, good evening, Bruce. Coming from YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah. My man is double fisting. What up, Bruce? What up, Fred?
Fred, hello.
Oh, commenting from Japan.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Big time.
That's nice.
Nanonood ka ba ng retirement show ni Muto? Were you able to catch, or did you catch Fantastica Mania or any of the NJPW shows?
Hello, Ina.
Hello,
A
Ina.
regular Ina. Wilson as well, hello.
What up, Wilson?
Bruce, hinanap mo ba si Tito Minoru?
Hello, John, JK. Chamber was great. Yeah, we'll talk about that today, tonight.
Wala na, di mo na nalalaro yung pre-show question.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay. Wala. I even forgot what it had something to do with. God. So if you guys have questions, go ahead. You can shoot. You can fire away. Helwani Mania. Yeah. Pretty. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but
Neto na lang, quick thoughts. For anyone
Yeah.
who's trashing Ariel Helwani, I think if you were in his position, you would probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
Good at the end, actually. Because we're not going to talk about it. We should actually talk about it tonight. I forgot to put that in the agenda. Pero the thing is, brands are always going to put quote-unquote journalists in their pocket. So just because Ariel Helwani did that for WWE doesn't mean Tony Khan can't hire him to do the same. So I don't know why he's mad. Is it because Helwani exposed Tony Khan in an interview na di siya makasagot ng ayos kasi munti ka na siya mag-meltdown. But, he's not really forbidden to do the same thing just because WWE got Ariel Helwani. But wala naman siya no-compete dun.
You want to include it tonight?
Do you have any thoughts on it? Because I already said what I had to say.
Oh, I just said what I had to say.
Probably could talk about it in the audio only, I guess.
Sige. Yeah. Basta ako, I said my piece na.
Where did you say your piece?
Na if everyone has a problem with it, if they were in Ariel Helwani's spot, they would probably do the same thing.
Yeah. Oh naman. Tsaka, it's Montreal. He's a hometown boy. So
Yeah.
I can let it slide.
Ang bilis lang natin manghusga na hindi natin naiisip na kung tayo yun, feeling ko yun naman
The Michael Cole
natin.
shot was funny though. I will admit. That was pretty good. It's okay, let's shut up.
All right.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I said, give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Zeta Zay.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not
sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Spoker. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Tsar, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You are watching and listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, and Emil ASH on another live stream. We're breaking down Elimination Chamber, the fallout from that. We're also going to take a quick side trip to Japan. Ang dami ring ganap sa mga Japanese promotions na sinusubaybayan natin. And of course, the rest of the week in wrestling. It's about to be a lot of fun. But before we get down to business, sa mga di pa nakakaalam, sana alam nyo, at sana rin alam ng mga HR nyo, na special non-working day na bukas. Dahil kailangan nating i-commemorate ang EDSA People Power Revolution even in the darkest timeline.
Pati si Bongbong magko-commemorate.
I mean, siya yung pumirma ng executive order.
Yeah,
so...
he's gonna celebrate the day they got kicked out of Malacanang. Yeah. Sabu pa more. Cocaine pa more.
Unity. So, sana alam ng mga HR nyo para may extra 30% kayo for working tomorrow. Yun lang naman, di ba? Para syempre, kumikita yung mga kabuhayan natin. So, let your HR representatives know in case they missed the piece of news that dropped literally minutes ago. Alright? Speaking of kumikitang kabuhayan, kumikita naman ng konti yung Patreon namin. And syempre, we do that as our way of keeping alive yung mga ginagawa natin sa Wrestling Podcast for our patrons, our loyal subscribers. So, Emil ASH, why don't you let the good people know about the benefits they can get from being a Wrestling Podcast patron?
Alright, so there are madaming benefits ang pagiging Patreon of our Patreon program. And one of it is our watch party. And in a couple of weeks, AEW will have their first pay-per-view of 2023, which is Revolution. So we're gonna have a watch party, so you could hang out with us, banter, just chilling with us. I think that's gonna be on a Monday morning, March 6th. So you could join our watch party by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/the Wrestling Podcast for as low as $5, or in the local currency is around 260 or 270 pesos. And madami pang perks ang pag-subscribe sa Patreon namin. We do have our Discord community where we talk about everything and anything under the sun. Of course, we talk about wrestling, but we also talk about gaming, fashion, food, memes. So anything that you want to talk about with us, you could hang out with us in our Discord server. And another perk of subscribing to our Patreon is our pasabays. And we're going to have a next one during WrestleMania season kasi madaming sale and all that. And also, you can get some exclusive review content from the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, and local wrestling events as well. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you are supporting everything that we do here on the podcast. So everything, all in all, you can do that by joining in our Patreon by subscribing at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast for as low as $5. So there you go.
Ro, anong grade ni Emil ngayon?
Emil, tell them what happened last Sunday. What do we do last Sunday morning?
Elimination Chamber. Oh. Yeah, forgot to slip that in. Okay.
Yeah. So we will be doing Revolution in a couple of weeks. Ayun, this one is legit watch party na kasi syempre not everyone is gonna have a Fight TV subscription to. They're not gonna buy the pay-per-view on Fight TV. So you could watch it yourself. I don't know if TV here has it, but syempre we will be doing that. We will be making our patrons' lives easier by putting that up on our Discord stream. Yun lang naman.
All right, so there. All the things you can get by being a Wrestling Podcast patron. Let's get right into it. Since binanggit na ni Ro and Emil yung Elimination Chamber, dun tayo magsisimula. And we're going to talk about that ending. with Sami Zayn losing against Roman Reigns. And the biggest question coming out of that na pinagdedebatehan pa rin ng fans all over the internet is, did anybody drop the ball here? Was this a missed opportunity to let Sami Zayn get the win in Montreal? Let's start with you, Emil. What were your feelings when you saw Sami take the pin?
Um, at that moment, no, I felt devastated because days leading up to the chamber, we like even sa live stream natin last week, I was still saying na Roman's gonna win. Like all the signs are pointing to a Roman win, but what happened from after we recorded that until before the match, nag-swing yung ano ko eh, nag-swing yung heart ko eh. I was pulling for a Sami Zayn win. I think most of us did. Pero like we all know what's gonna happen anyways. Pero hindi ko pa rin naiwasan yung ma-feel na yung devastation when Sammy Sammy was pinned. And it's not the fact that he was pinned or he lost, but it's the way I think that he lost that match. Na I felt underwhelmed on how that match ended. I think that's is how I'm gonna put it.
All right. Ikaw, Ro, did you think this was a missed opportunity? Or okay lang, kasi the road to WrestleMania has been pretty clear and is now much clearer.
Yeah, I thought it was. I wasn't gonna begrudge the way they did it because, syempre, there's still Cody. But for me, I still wanted this to happen. This is what I wanted to happen. Uh, I think they could still have their Cody cake and eat it. I don't think the WrestleMania feud between Cody and Roman was absolutely set in stone. Like they did fire some shots a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't think that there wasn't a sense na that was gonna be the final thing. Because they were doing a lot of things. They did Cody versus Roman, Cody versus Heyman. They did Cody and Sammy together. So how I always thought of it was they were covering their bases to figure out where they wanted to go. And I think they did that enough to justify having Sammy win. Like, I think the crowd was super ready for a Sammy win. I think that they riled up the fans enough by having Roman be a legit heel that we were ready to do the thing, you know. I think there were at this point there were a lot of other justifiable possibilities for Roman Reigns na hindi nila tinuloy. Is it the same thing as a heartbreak that Vince McMahon would do? I don't think so. Kasi I still think that the end game was always Roman losing the championships at WrestleMania. But you know, like I said before, when it came to kunyari, New Japan's Gedo's long-term booking, sometimes you just got to be able to adjust. And I think that this was the time they should have adjusted because of their own doing, because of how well they told their own stories, because of how great Sammy and Roman and Heyman and whoever and the Usos were acting. So, wala, sayang talaga, missed opportunity, yeah. But I don't think it's like the biggest heartbreak in WWE right now.
Since we're talking about heartbreaks, let me ask you this, Ro. Which was the bigger heartbreak? The missed opportunity for Sammy to win in Montreal or yung ending ng How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, binawi naman nila yun eh. I mean, like they did they did a fixed quote unquote ending of the show. So at least there was that, even though it wasn't the canon ending. Ito, yan. Martin says it's the latter, but you know, it was the biggest miss I think in Montreal. Like, you broke an entire city's heart there, and I didn't think they deserved it. You know, um, I think it would have been a great opportunity to show that the Triple H regime actually cares about the fans. It does. They do care about the fans, but this would have been the best win. You know, we liked to rave about Tony Khan in the, I guess, first half at this point of AEW's history for bringing the fans the results that they wanted, like the CM Punk stuff, the Hangman stuff, the Kenny Omega stuff. And the reason why that worked out was because well, it just showed that he was listening. Like he was listening to the pulse of the people. And yes, meron din namang ganun when it comes to Cody being the one anointed to take the championships. Pero there was also a loud clamor for this, and I thought that it sucked that they didn't listen to this clamor.
Speaking of the voice of the people, Ro, you did an informal poll on
Yeah.
our TikTok.
Ayun, isa pa yan. If you guys follow us on TikTok, I posted the clip of the final minutes of the Roman versus Sammy match. So wala, naisip ko lang. I wasn't, making it to be a thing or anything. I just wanted to get more interactions. But I ran a poll that I asked that was this the right decision? Was Sammy losing the right decision? And surprisingly, 60% of the respondents said yes, it was the right decision. That's around 400 plus people voting yes, and compared to around 200 something people voting no. So it goes to show that even though you and I in Montreal and you guys wanted Sammy to win, there is actually, I guess, a significant amount of people that think that I'm assuming the reason they voted yes was because they wanted Cody to win.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil, what do you think about our TikTok poll, for example? Yun na lang, that small sample size of wrestling fans, mostly in the Philippines, and their feelings towards this being apparently the right result.
I mean, to be fair naman, no, on this podcast last week, we were predicting mostly Roman win. So, I think may hatak yung 60% of the fans who thought that Roman retaining was the right decision because, like Rose said here, the end game of all of this is the end game really of all of this is Roman losing at WrestleMania. So they could have pulled an audible and have him lose in Montreal, but at the end of the day, that was always the plan. Roman losing at WrestleMania. Hindi lang tayo sigurado on who he's gonna drop the title at Mania, but now I think we're more sure than last week. So I'm okay with the 60% of the fans thinking it was the right call.
So let's talk about calling an audible. Sabi nga ni Ro kanina, at some point, because the story was so good, they could have changed course and had Sammy go to head-to-head with Cody at WrestleMania. Or at some point in the road to WrestleMania, Sammy loses the championships back to Roman Reigns again. Emil, would you have liked something like that?
No, like Sammy winning only to dropping the titles back to Roman would have ruined his momentum. Like like I was glad that if kung ganun din pala yung mangyayari, I'm glad it never happened because like yes, you gave him the moment, but he like if you do that, he's not gonna look good afterwards. So and the goal here is to put over Sami Zayn as one of the most popular wrestlers in the promotion. So with that goal and then doing that, I'm okay with it not happening.
Ikaw, Ro, may counter ka ba dun?
Before that, I just wanted to shout out the Moonlock podcast in the YouTube comments.
What's up,
headed
Ramon?
by one Mon Agbisit, the man who stood up to the PBA and won. Yeah. No, I don't have any counterparts to it. I mean, I don't have any counterpoints, masyado, but I will say that a good writer, I guess, is able to plot out a long-term story. But I think a better writer is able to adjust where needed and still pull out a good story, despite the change in plans. So, I guess that's what the thing really is. Parang they could have had an opportunity to show that they could pull off something good writing wise, pero the fact that they defaulted to their original plan shows that okay, may kakainin ka pa pala, so wala, sayang lang. It's again, it's one of those things na nakaka-break talaga ng heart, but I think we're also making it a bigger thing than it actually is because it's Montreal, and it's not to discount the hometown crowd, pero alam mo yun, it's a big factor as well. But syempre, I think they deserve their big moment too.
Mm-hmm. Last question before we go to break from Aaron. Do we now see a Sami Zayn title run in the future? Emil?
Yes, definitely. He's now so over that it would be dumb for the WWE to not acknowledge that and give him a title reign. So, anyway, plus, yeah, he deserves a title win, but I don't think he deserves a long title reign. That's how I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it because he's much better as the underdog. He's much better chasing the title rather than being the title holder. So that's where I'm gonna put it.
Ikaw, Ro.
I agree. I agree with it doesn't need to be a long reign. Usually these things, especially when you're a babyface, it's always about the moment of winning. That's usually a lot bigger than the championship reign itself. Yun lang naman. I wanted to add Sir Gian's comment in the chat. The end of the championship, the Roman Reigns should have been on the grandest stage on the ball. I don't think so. I thought the atmosphere at the Bell Center last Sunday was enough of a big stage na I that could have that I think that was at least equivalent to a big perceived mania environment because there were so many things surrounding that and making it a big fight feel a real moment.
Yeah, just the fact that Roman entered first, which they explained on commentary was him still playing mind games with Sammy, diba? But just, Sammy getting that moment to enter last and then to just soak in the adoration of the crowd. And production-wise, you have to notice that the commentators also stepped back. Wala silang sinabi at all during Sami Zayn's entrance. That moment really spoke for itself. So I agree with Ro there na the Bell Center atmosphere was basically your big fight WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. Glendale, thoughts on the Kevin Owens thing? We'll talk about that in a bit when we talk about their segment on Raw. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Kapit
Yeah,
ka
we'll
lang,
get to
kapit
him in
ka
a bit.
lang.
We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll recap the rest of Elimination Chamber. But before we get to that, we'll hear from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. All right, time for us to recap the rest of Elimination Chamber. We're going to start with the Women's Chamber since it did kick off the show. Let's bring up Asuka here since she punched her ticket to WrestleMania and she's the number one contender for Bianca Belair's Raw Women's Championship. We all predicted on the podcast it was probably going to be like this, about that Asuka was going to win the Chamber. So did anything from that match stand out to you?
Sorry. Go ahead, Emil.
Honestly, hindi na ako na-surprise with how the match went. Like we all predicted that the narrative of this match is going to be Asuka wreaking havoc to everyone and making short work out of the competitors in the chamber, and that's what we got. The women's chamber was much shorter. It didn't have like the huge spots that we had in the men's rumble, but it served its purpose of putting over Asuka and making her look like a really credible challenger for Bianca at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Igaru.
I wasn't surprised as well. She was the best part of that match, I think. The pool was also kind of a little shallower, but they did their best, man. They worked hard to create a good match. But I said on the Picks of the Week episode earlier this week, if you haven't tuned into that, go listen to that. I said the way the two chamber matches were carried out, you can tell which match had the more effort put in and the more attention given to. So yun lang naman. Yeah, I'm fine with Asuka versus Bianca. I think this was the best choice for WrestleMania as well.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that since I wasn't on the pick of the week episode. May feelings ba kayong in-expound on the women's chamber probably not being given as much attention as much as the men's chamber based on what you said?
Yeah, I did actually. Because Rowan's pick was the men's chamber, and I
Yeah.
said that the men's chamber was a lot better because they had more time, because the men had more experience, and because they had more experience, they were given more time. That's what I was referring to when I said they got more attention. So the women's chamber was just everyone was out. That was quick eliminations to do the and that was it. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was just there. Like I said during the show on the watch party chat, it was one of the elimination chambers in history.
Mm-hmm. Was anyone a made woman coming out of the chamber? Kasi di ba normally these multi-person matches, even if someone doesn't necessarily win, they come out even better despite the defeat. So Emil, did anyone from the field not named Asuka look better to you coming out of the chamber?
I think Liv. Um, like even though we are at the point where I think Liv is already one of the top top wrestlers in the division. Sobrang na-impress ako sa kanya throughout the match. Like she did that spot where she came off the top of the chamber pod and did a sunset flip powerbomb on Raquel, which was really impressive. And nag stick out sa akin yung the way she got eliminated. It took two people to take her out, which that's a big sign that they're big on Liv Morgan despite not winning the match.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro.
Yeah, I don't. I agree. Liv did end up doing the most other than Asuka. So I think she's really good. I think she's seizing every opportunity, being the horniest member of the women's division, because she's kissing everyone, right? So
Yeah.
but she's also the most improved, continuing to be the most improved. So I don't know if it's like she's stealing all those spots for herself, because sometimes people will just I'll do this spot and I'll do this spot and I'll do this spot. Tapos the others don't get to do as much. I don't know if she's doing that, but she is making the most of it. Nadadala naman niya, natatawid naman niya. So good for her. I think her time again in the sun will be coming later this year.
Yeah, something about this extreme gimmick for Liv Morgan is working. It's clicking naman. So I can't wait to see where that momentum takes her. Now let's go to... Oh, sorry. Emil, go.
It actually she reminds me of like Prime Lita. If that makes sense. Like she's gonna do all these spots and that's how she's gonna get over with the crowd. And yun lang. Observation ko is she's like the modern day Lita.
Okay.
All right.
I that's cool.
All right, let's go to the men's chamber. Austin Theory, still your United States champion. Was this the right move for you guys? Emil?
Yeah. Again, this is one of those things we predicted that would happen before the match. Pero like before and after the match, I always thought, yeah, Austin Theory retaining was a good move. But while watching that match, I can't help myself but to root for Montez Ford because he had a spectacular showing. Again, we talked about this since Pick of the Week episode. And he really won himself over with the crowd. Like the people were rooting for Montez to win, but sadly hindi nanalo. But Austin retaining still it's not bad. Like it's a good move, and I'm glad that he had also a good showing in the match.
Ikaw, Ro, you were calling for Montez Ford to be the dark horse pick, but strangely, parang walang nangyari with him on Raw just 2 nights later.
Yeah, nabenta kasi sa akin ng Mass Man show na, Montez would win and that would kickstart a feud between him and Docs. But I didn't really want a Docs turn anyway because it's just so good. I mean, like I said before, it shouldn't necessarily translate to a team breaking up because we've done that so many times. But yeah, okay lang naman. I think this was a coming out. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a coming out party for Montez because if you've been following him closely, if you watch Raw every week, you would see that every time they put him on in a singles match, he would just do his thing and be really good. The same goes for Docs as well. So they're both really, really good. And I don't want to say it was a coming out party because for me, I already knew he could carry a singles run. I was always matagal ko na yung sinabi na Tez was going to be the single star between the two of them, and then Docs went out and wrestles like rent was due, diba? So there's that. It's just Tez, I guess, proving what some of us already knew. I don't think the higher ups needed to be reminded anyway. I think it's really mostly for the fans. And I also think his time in the sun is coming as well.
All right.
And yung kay Tez, no, we have seen this before that they would put him in a match and he would shine and people would rave about his performance, and then the next week he's back with the Street Profits, and they're doing their thing, and then once in a while they would put him again in a spotlight. So for me, I am waiting for that moment where they would finally put him in a serious program, like long-term program, where he's eventually going to be a star. Because right now, he's like the highlight reel, like to borrow a nickname from the great Dominic Wilkins. He's the human highlight film of WWE right now. So they need to capitalize on him, and I wish it could happen sooner than rather than later.
Yeah, para siyang Kofi Kingston 2.0, which
Yes,
I hope
exactly.
for Montez Ford's sake, it doesn't take him 11 years to get to a proper singles run like Kofi did.
I don't think so.
People in the comments have been referencing Logan Paul. We might as well bring him up right now. It's unofficially official at this point. Why else would Logan Paul enter the chamber and then hit Seth with a curb stomp before the match would even end? So, any feelings on this one now that we know that Seth's path to WrestleMania is clearer than it was last year, Emil?
I'm glad that I'm just glad that Logan is the heel going in and not Seth. Because it would not make sense if it's the other way around. Kasi si Logan yung naggagago kay Rollins eh. So he should be the heel, and I think I am glad that he's accepted the heel role in this match, and I think they would do just fine at Mania.
Ikaw, Ro, what do you think was said to Logan Paul for him to internalize na, yeah, I should be the heel here?
Well, he has a lawsuit for one. Diba? So there's that. Diba? I think he saw that, and I mean, I don't think at this point, I don't think anyone should be that dumb. He already knew that people were complaining of getting scammed by his crypto thing, diba? So at that point, magtatanga-tangahan ka pa ba na hindi ikaw yung heel dito, and syempre, he has to bow down to Triple H, wherever he wants to go creatively. So I think the credit should go to Triple H there. I think it was Vince naman who initially instated Logan Paul as a babyface. So there's that. For this though, I actually finally clicked yung character ni Seth Rollins. I finally understand what he's supposed to be. He is just this happy-go-lucky guy. There's an on and off switch for his serious wrestling thing and his serious emotions. You can trigger him, and then his carefree, big red boot wearing self is replaced by the serious Seth Rollins. So that's pretty cool. I think it's the best he's ever been as a character compared to all the years of being the authority guy, the Kingslayer, and all of that stuff. So I want Seth to. I think this is Seth's coming out na rin as well. I think this is finally him discovering the thing that makes him really him. So I think Logan Paul is also the best foil to this because we get to see how much Seth takes wrestling seriously, takes the business seriously, and that's one of those things that makes him actually a pretty good babyface. You might not get it right away because he is giving you that annoying laugh, that cackle. He's wearing the most outlandish things, and normally that would make you averse to a character like him. But you can tell. I think he makes it easy to understand that he loves wrestling and he loves the business.
Yeah, which, funnily enough, is basically the crux of this story. Na Seth is railing on Logan Paul for just being another big name entering Seth's world. So they're kind of channeling that feeling, which I think is also a step in the right direction. Let's go to Edge here. Edge and Finn Balor probably headed to WrestleMania as well, given the way things are going, because Edge and Beth Phoenix won at Elimination Chamber, pero clearly, my last chapter patong sina Edge and Finn. Emil, are you at a point where you wish the story would have ended at the Chamber, or are you okay with Edge and Finn going head-to-head one last time at Mania?
No, I'm good with it. I'm good with the story ending at Mania. Para siguro may full circle moment because the Judgment Day really started at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
So to a way to bookend this story is that Edge going up against his creation at the same show that he created, the Judgment Day. So I'm okay. I'm okay with this going to WrestleMania. Nakatulong din na there were so many breaks with this feud na even though the feud started last year, it doesn't feel as long. It doesn't feel as tiring as other storylines may be.
Ikaw, Rose, there's something to be said here about the Judgment Day going after Edge's family being Edge's karma for even starting it to begin with.
I know that Edge and Finn are like the biggest names when it comes to this entire story. But after the match, nung Chamber, what I really want is Beth versus Rhea. I like that a lot better. I felt like they had more chemistry than Edge versus Finn. I actually think Edge versus Theory had more chemistry with each other than Edge versus Finn. I'm done with this. Like, what else do you need to do? Edge already won. Beth already won. If there's anything that needs to be proven, it's Rhea against Beth, diba? Kasi Rhea's trying to be like the biggest woman in the block, right? The baddest woman in the block who can take on the men as well. And that was Beth originally, diba? After China, that was Beth. And I know that Rhea already has Charlotte, but after this, I would much rather see that matchup. Like, I would much also rather see Edge and Finn doing something else. Like, yes to long-term storytelling, but this long-term storytelling was actually a bit of cheating kasi they extended it because of Edge's slightly part-time schedule, diba? So it's not really a thing that, okay, he gets to do something else first, Finn gets to do something else first, and then they go back to the feud. It's really because Edge has to take time off every couple of months, diba? And comes back, makes his big comeback, surprise comeback and then continues the same feud he was on. So I'm not for that. I like Edge. I love Edge, but the Theory match on this week's Raw was actually eye-opening for me because, oh shit, Edge can actually do other things and have it be good.
Kaya ka nabablock ni Edge sa Twitter.
I already told him the Theory match was great.
Overall rankings for the PLE. Give me a grade, whether it's a star system or yung letter grade. Let's start with Emil.
I am gonna give it a solid A. Medyo mataas na yun, pero it's an A. Like I said nung pick of the week, no, the PLE is under Triple H ever since he took over are really good. And it's basically the takeover formula, which is lesser matches but more time given to each matches. And each match shined on its own. And it is a solid card from beginning to end. And I love it when a pay-per-view is it was only 3 hours, diba? Like, lumagpas na siya ng 3 hours, pero it was still a 3-hour pay-per-view, 5 matches, all great, all solid. So I'm gonna give it an A.
Ikaw, Ro, your grade.
I would give it an A minus. The first half, well, just the Brock versus Bobby match, it dragged down the meter just a little bit.
All right, let's go to Raw. Ito na, yung mga hinihintay nyo. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They kicked off with Sami trying to reconnect with KO, and here comes Kevin Owens, who reinforces continuity. sinabi niya na totoo pa rin yung sinabi niya noong November that he still wants nothing to do with Sami Zayn, which is a very relatable feeling, di ba? After you go through such a toxic relationship with someone, whether it's platonic, friendly, or romantic, at some point you're just like, I don't really care anymore. I just want to distance myself from you. So I think that's a universal emotion that KO tapped into it here. So, Emil, what did you think of this next chapter of the Sami and KO story?
It makes sense, no. After the chamber match when KO came out, I was really mad that Kevin Owens for going out late, and I even joke na para siya yung yung mga police sa mga pelikula ni FPJ dati, dumadating pagtapos na yung laban. Pero after a while, and then I read some of the comments on Reddit and on online, and it makes sense na KO isn't buddy buddy with Sami Zayn just yet, or he will never be the same friend that he was to Sami as before, because over the past few months, Sami kept messing with Kevin Owens. So parang tanga si Kevin Owens kung papatawarin lang niya agad-agad si Sami Zayn just because Sami Zayn has changed alignments. It still doesn't change the fact that KO doesn't want anything to do with Sami anymore, even though he is not with the bloodline. So I like the and Kevin Owens. I think he's one of the rare ones in wrestling that practices continuity, and he's just amazing at it. And again, they're telling a really good story here, and I wish I wish we could see more as we near WrestleMania.
Yeah, I wouldn't say na KO is one of the few. I think there are more of them. I think mas nagagawa lang nila in the current era of WWE storytelling. But I think across different promotions, there will be more wrestlers who will reference long-term storytelling the way that Kevin Owens does. But I also think na sobrang ganda ng sinabi mo, Emil, na yun nga, ang daming ginawa rin ni Sami kay KO, which KO says na even if wala kang ginawa, the fact that you just stood there while I was getting beaten up, diba, it's still very hurtful to someone like KO, especially since his family was in attendance. So, Ro, what do you think about that? Na yung reasoning ni Kevin Owens for why he did what he did despite him coming in really late.
I don't just like the fact that he enforced continuity. It's also the fact that they actually translated a very, very human emotion to the story. Like Vince's wrestling, Vince's WWE didn't really get to do a lot of that things. It was always cartoony and over the top, and a lot of times it defied logic. About so, if this were Vince, I think he would have gone the opposite way, and he would just forgiven Sammy. He would have just have forgiven Sammy, diba? Right then and there, kasi wrestling logic, diba? We gotta team up because you saved me, and you turned at the last minute and kind of put a stop to it, sort of, until you got beaten down as well. That would have been Vince's logic, but this one, no, it actually makes sense, and the reason why it's relatable is because it made sense. It made sense to us who may have gone through something like this in our own lives, and it made sense to someone like Kevin Owens who actually did go through the shit that he did at the hands of Sammy, or without Sammy's support. So that's why it's great. I guess I knew deep down that they were gonna explain bakit late nag-book ng angkas si Kevin Owens nung Saturday. So kudos to them for that. I knew they were gonna come through. The jokes were fun, yes. It's fun to meme about it. It's fun to make our jokes about it. But you knew that they would come through with the explanation, and the explanation was satisfactory. I guess the end game is still a reunion between the two. I think they're gonna work hard for it. I think that's where it's gonna go. But this chapter makes sense, and I think that might be the bare minimum, and that's why it's good.
Okay, so mukhang doon na nga tayo pupunta. Stinerico versus the Usos at WrestleMania. Are you satisfied with that prospect, Emil?
At this point, wala nang magagawa eh. It's yes. We could have wished for Sami Zayn to be inserted into the main event. we tried to manifest it, we prayed for it, pero wala eh. It looks like they're sticking with the original plans, and as long as they tell a good story, uh, for the build up for this match, I think I'm okay with it. So
Ikaw, Ro.
Yeah, I'm okay with it as well. I know people don't like this week's cinema as much because it's not the result that they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're gonna come away with this with the same effort that they've been giving uh, the entire Bloodline story for the past few months.
All right. Let's stick with Raw here and talk about the challenge that Omos and MVP have laid out for Brock Lesnar. And corollary to this, it looks like, based on yung rumors on the internet, na Bobby Lashley is moving on to Bray Wyatt, since Bray did reference that na rin on the SmackDown before the Elimination Chamber. So, Emil, Brock versus Omos, is this something you want to see?
I'm I'm going out on a limb here and say this is a trap. And I just think this is fantasy booking. I think this is a trap for the Hurt Business to reunite and beat up Brock. Because let's remember the Chamber finish with the match between Brock and Lashley. It ended in a DQ. So, feel ko hindi pa sila tapos ni Bobby Lashley. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me fantasy booking a Hurt Business reunion. Pero when I saw this segment, that's what yun yung pumasok sa utak ko. When it comes to the Lashley Bray Wyatt feud, I don't know how are they gonna pull that off with only how many weeks ba? Like 4 weeks to
Hindi
WrestleMania.
naman, it's over a month.
It's over a month. I don't know. I'm over like anyone who feuds with Bray Wyatt coming out isn't gaining anything from feuding with Bray Wyatt. That's all I'm gonna say. And sobrang masasayang lang si Bobby Lashley if they would put him in a feud against Bray Wyatt at the biggest show of the year. So for me, it's a waste. I am over Bray Wyatt at this point. I have given him the chance to wow me over, pero wala. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like, maybe some people would like to have that feud, but for me, I'd rather not see it.
Yeah, people in the comments are reacting violently here. Ikaw, Ro, as a proponent of the Hurt Business reunion, could this be a setup for that?
No, I don't think so. I think that this Omos feud is a way for Brock to regain his heat again because he's been taking L's for the past couple of months at Rumble, at Chamber. So I think that this is an easy W for him. I don't think they value Omos that highly. So I'm not sure it's going to be a Hurt Business reunion before WrestleMania. I think if anything, it will be done after. Yun lang naman.
All right. How about yung prospect of Wyatt versus Lashley?
I don't know. I don't care. Again, I gave up on Bray Wyatt. I don't know what this feud is gonna be. I don't know what the story is gonna be. I don't know what Bray and Tito Howdy's motivations are gonna be. So nor do I care. It's just another Bray Wyatt mumbo jumbo feud that I hope Lashley comes out of unscathed because we all know how that goes. So just ask LA Knight, right? So yun, good luck na lang sa kanila. God bless.
All right. Last bit on Raw here. Becky Lynch and Lita have challenged Damage Control for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Hindi pa natin alam when this is gonna happen. I'm not even sure if the Dakota Kai injury is a work or if it's legit. May insight ka ba doon, Ro?
It seems real. Parang they've been working around it, but they're gonna do the tag title match next week.
Yeah. So I have no idea kung anong mangyayari doon.
Yeah, maybe it's not that serious. Maybe they're working it a little more for an extra week longer, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil, do you think Damage Control might lose it here just to give Becky Lynch and Lita a moment?
I guess so. I mean, if the rumors are true that Dakota is injured, I mean, you gotta give it to someone else, right? If she is legit injured and she's gonna be out for a long time, then maybe the conclusion of this feud after all is a Becky tag team title win, which we did not anticipate when this feud started. So plus umay na ako with the Damage Control having the tag titles. It's time for someone else to hold the titles and actually defend them, because I don't know when's the last time they defended the women's tag team championships.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. Hindi ko na rin maalala, so I can't answer the question. Um, People here have been referencing Trish Stratus, like si Leo asking where Trish is, kasi she has been appearing in the rumors. But based on the information available, I don't think we're getting Trish Stratus anytime soon. I could be wrong, hindi natin alam. But one of the other prevalent rumors is that it'll be Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler against Damage Control for the Women's Tag Team Championships. And I think if and when that becomes official, saka na lang natin pag-usapan. Right? We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll go to Japan. Some big stuff happening in that part of the wrestling world as well for this week. But first, one more break. We're going to hear from our other podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. All right, let's go to Japan here and let's talk about the new IWGP Women's Champion. Mercedes Monè is now the champion after defeating Kairi at Battle in the Valley, and I think this was an obvious pick. The question really is, how far will Mercedes and New Japan go to really legitimize itong championship reign, diba? So, Emil, what did you think about this match and how it all went down?
This was my pick of the week. So my
Listen to the
feelings,
show.
my feelings with this match, I already said it in the pick of the week episode. Again, that it was a great match. I like that the New Japan gave them more time. I saw a tweet about it. It was 26 minutes, so that's a long time for a title match. So I'm glad that she's given the opportunity to really wrestle and really showcase herself in her first match back. And perfect opponent to see Kyrie, because it's a familiarity thing. So and they really complemented each other well throughout the match. So and then it's a big sign that the New Japan is entrusting Mercedes with the IWGP, the new IWGP women's championship, because she's gonna be an ambassador for it. She um like people know Mercedes from all over the world because of her tenure in WWE. So it's a smart move for them to put the title immediately on her, even in her first match. So yeah.
Here's the counterpoint to that, though. Based on yung response ng fans at the Tokyo Dome for Mercedes when she made her Tokyo Dome debut, parang di nila siya kilala. Medyo may pagkahuyu. So, Ro, with Mercedes being the champion, do you think it's an uphill battle given na hindi nga siya, she probably doesn't have the same traction that she has in Japan compared to what she has in the US?
I will say that dapat lang binigay nila yung championship kay Mercedes Monè. Because she sold out that show. She sold out that San Jose show. It was all her. It wasn't Okada. It wasn't Tanahashi. It was all her. There is a point, yes, to be made about Monè being a big draw in the US, but not in Japan. But I think those fears may have been quashed by her performance on the show in this match. compared to when she came out at Wrestle Kingdom, this was night and day. And compared to her work as Sasha Banks, this was night and day. Again, listen to the Picks of the Week episode from earlier this week if you haven't yet, because Emil and I break that down because this match was so good. And I think naman that once you put out a good performance and you continue to do so, you will have the loyalty of the Japanese crowd. And there's also something to be said about her Hana Kimura tribute because apparently, and I didn't know this, Hana was a big Sasha Banks fan.
Yes.
So there has to be some kind of buy-in there, some credibility there from the Japanese fans. So that's pretty good. I think it could be like a safe bet to have her to have her perform Muna in the US just so they can like prop up the reactions. But eventually, yeah, she will have to face the Japanese crowd. And I think naman that based on what she gave us versus Kairi, I think she can do the same over in Japan. It doesn't have to be the same crowd reactions. I don't think that's going to phase her. I think she's going to do just as fine. A real quick thing. We broke this down again in the Picks of the Week episode, but the reason why she was so much better is not because it was versus Kairi, but because she was given time to actually wrestle. So I compared the way the match was booked in New Japan to the way women's matches are usually booked in WWE. There's a difference in the time given and the resulting style of wrestling that comes out from the time given. So because this was treated like a New Japan main event, like if you have Okada versus Tanahashi match, it's gonna go at least 20 minutes. It didn't go that long, but it did feel like that. It was allowed to breathe. It was allowed to sink in all the shots, and Mercedes Monè transcended into that next level that they usually expect in Japan.
Yeah, I appreciated how the Moneymaker looks much better in the context of a match as opposed to when she just busted it out on Kairi no Wrestle Kingdom. And I don't know if you guys mentioned this sa pick of the week, pero medyo bonus din that Matt Rewald, FKA Aiden English, was on commentary because that's someone who actually has a connection with Mercedes. So ang ganda rin ng extra layers that he added to commentary during that match.
Leo,
okay,
we talked. Sorry, real quick. Leo, we talked about Braun Breaker last week on the audio only, so halatang di ka nakinig.
I do have a question here. Once Mercedes goes to Japan, if you're if you're the booker or like the head creative there, would you put her in the NJPW main shows, or would you put her more on the Stardom shows so that she could get the hang of wrestling the Joshis? That's the question I just like popped into my head just around now. So saan mo siya muna ilalagay for like, would you expose her immediately to the main shows to see if she can indeed draw, or have her break in with the Stardom wrestlers?
As far as I know, this isn't just a Stardom thing. Like, yes, Kyrie is a Stardom wrestler, but as far as this whole setup goes, I think that because the championship is branded as IWGP, I think this is their part in establishing a women's presence on NJPW shows. So, to answer the question, I think both will happen.
Okay. Yeah,
I think we should.
Yeah, same here. I think the IWGP belts are New Japan championships talaga. So you can't have her exclusively in one place. And I think the best way to do it is to have her appear on both Stardom and New Japan, since it's under the same company anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of New Japan, Jay White has officially left New Japan in the span of a week. He lost to Hikuleo in a loser leaves New Japan match, and then
he lost to Hikuleo in a loser leaves Japan match, and he lost to Eddie Kingston in a loser leaves NJPW match.
Yeah. Medyo nagustuhan ko yung step nung Eddie Kingston versus Jay White because they at least made the effort of having Jay White tell Eddie Kingston na if you lose, you can't be affiliated with New Japan at all. You can't wrestle with or against someone from New Japan without my permission. So that was a nice little step, even though I think the larger wrestling world kind of foresaw na yung nga, Jay White was on his way out. So I guess the question here is, where is he going to end up? Emil?
Before I answer that, I just want to say this about Jay White's tenure in New Japan. I feel like he didn't reach his utmost potential that a lot of people were expecting from him when he introduced this switchblade gimmick. Um, like after Kenny, he was pegged as the biggest gaijin heel after Kenny. But I really felt nabitin ako with this main event stint. He wasn't able to have the big moments that the other gaijins had, like Kenny, Will Ospreay. Like he's in the main event, but he was just there. And when Okada is out, when Okada is not healthy, they would put the title on him. And once Okada gets back, Okada would always win the title back from Jay White. So he didn't make a splash, but he was just there in New Japan. That's how I felt about his tenure. And yung stay niya doon really feels underwhelming when you compare it to the other Bullet Club leaders who went on, who the other Bullet Club leaders during their time in NJPW. Like you would always remember Styles' tenure there, Kenny, who has Devitt's time in as the leader of Bullet Club, but with Jay, parang underwhelming and kind of forgettable for me. So to answer now the question of where do I think he will go, maybe he'll go to WWE. I think. I mean, because they are really pursuing him, and his style, I think, fits better in WWE rather than in New Japan or AEW. Plus, but I think he needs a change of scenery, and I think WWE can give that to Jay White.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro, you want to eulogize Jay White's New Japan career?
No, fuck Jay White. Just kidding. No, Emil has the right idea, actually. I never thought of it that way because I don't always think of Jay White. But I think kasi, obviously he's not a bad wrestler because he is at the New Japan level. You do have to be good to make it there. But he just didn't catch on because he wasn't a guy who could catch on in his current gimmick. Like, I thought he had more cash as a young lion than he was in the main roster. Diba? So it's just one of those things that, strangely enough, he could not find that next gear in New Japan. So maybe he could find it in WWE. Maybe that's where he's meant to be. I did listen to a Jay White interview on a podcast. I think it was Unrestricted or something. He did say that he started training wrestling because of WWE. So maybe it's one of those things. Oh, it's destined to happen, right? And maybe he would fit in there a lot better. The thing, though, is I think there's no way but for him to go to WWE. Kasi yung stipulations pa lang, loser leaves NJPW. He can't compete in an NJPW match or show even. And as you all know, NJPW has a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. So, meron siyang AEW partnership, Impact partnership, Ring of Honor partnership, indie partnerships even. So, all of that is gone because Jamie White can no longer compete in New Japan. So, where else does that leave you? The WWE, diba? Whether or not he transcends to that next level in WWE, remains to be seen. Maybe he could find it. Maybe the people there, the experienced veterans there, could help him find it. Who knows? I agree with Kyle. Straight main roster. No way he's gonna go through NXT.
Would the Switchblade gimmick though work better, or he needs like a new gimmick?
What is the Switchblade even? Diba?
Yeah,
Can anyone explain the Switchblade?
I think that a lot of New Japan nicknames are really just nicknames, diba? Like, what is a cold skull?
Diba? It's one of those things that, okay, Japan has a thing for cool sounding English words. So if you don't agree, go look at that commercial they did for the trading card game. So you can tell they really just like really badass, nice sounding English words. Um, I don't know what is a switchblade like.
Yeah.
Knife pervert was a better way to explain him.
I mean, to be fair, some of the nicknames do make sense naman. Like Tokyo Pimp. Okay, like I get what Yujiro is, diba? Or si Hiromu being the time bomb. I get that, right? But like,
Ayun. Sorry. Si Glendale, what is a Stardust Genius? I've always wondered.
yun din. Yeah. Diba? No, the ticking time bomb I can agree with it. But like, Stardust Genius, Roughneck, Cold Skull, Switchblade, diba? Even Master Wato. What is he the master of? It's like the way of the Grandmaster. To what? Of what? Diba? So I get where Ro is coming from here. Ito, a question from the comments. Who's gonna be the new Bullet Club leader?
People are saying it's David Finlay because he attacked Jay White, and that's basically the tradition of Bullet Club leaders. You attack the old leader, and
Yeah.
you take over.
That's sad. How far has Bullet Club fallen that David Finlay is the next in line?
I think Bullet Club
They-
is just better. Like
It should have been
Not
Tamatonga. Like, it should have been Tamatonga. Kasi,
Wala na siya dun eh.
yeah, wala na nga siya dun. So, there are literally no stars left in Bullet Club. Like, Juice Robinson is contracted to AEW. So,
I think it's time for Bullet Club to dissolve.
yeah, it's time to die.
Yeah.
Evil, I guess, is going to be the leader, maybe. I don't know.
God.
House of Torture, yes.
Pero nasa House of Torture, Subunit siya eh.
Subuni. All right. Before we make too much fun of Bullet Club in New Japan, let's go over to Noah, where Keiji Mutoh lost his last two matches. So it was against Tetsuya Naito in the main event of Last Love, and then after that, Masahiro Chono shows up, and they have an impromptu match which lasted less than 2 minutes. I just got to watch it this afternoon. I had a lot of questions because I don't really know Keiji Mutoh and his lore. So, ikaw, Ro, may insights ka ba that you can share on the pod for unlearned people like me?
Oh no, not me. I will admit that is beyond my scope. I mean, I try to learn, my history, but I admittedly I have not caught up to this lore. But he's a genius, and that's why he faced the Stardust Genius. I guess that's why they had their torch passing moment like a decade ago, and then that's why they're having it now. I don't know lang if this has any big visceral impact on Naito's career. I don't think he needed it anyway because Naito's a big star. They're just sidelining him. But it is what it is. Maybe there's like this big significance for Muto, but to me, it feels to me, the unlearned Western fan, this kind of feels like a Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin thing.
Oof. Okay, I mean, I was there for Angle Corbin, and watching Muto versus Naito. I'm gonna have to disagree. It did did not feel like Angle Corbin.
No, it's okay. I have nothing better to say about it. That's why I said that.
All right, ikaw, Emil. Ano ka ba? Are you updated with Keiji Muto lore?
Medyo onte because again, narinig ko na siya when I was still starting to be a wrestling fan. Like he was one of those guys who from Japan went to WCW and really made their name there for the Western audience. And yung show na to, I was I was scrolling sa online and nagulat ako na Chono came out of retirement to challenge him to a final match. Like,
Japanese Dijak.
Yeah, like what? Nagulat ako kasi I thought his last match was against Naito. That's what we always have known for a month now. And then yung pala, it's gonna be against someone else. So I guess that was a good moment. And ito question: who's like the American counterpart of Keiji Mutoh? Like, I'm gonna throw that question to maybe the people in the comments as well. Who's like the American like counterpart,
Equivalent?
if there's any, yeah, equivalent, if there's any of Keiji
That
Muto.
would take into consideration his whole career because there are two different phases of his career, maybe three different phases of his career. There was the really awesome Great Muta part, and then there was the heyday in the 90s, and then there was the older Muta part. I don't know, maybe Undertaker. Yeah, I think Undertaker is a good
Yeah.
comparison to that. Yeah.
Ito, to answer Kyle's question, yes, Japanese fans were cheering na based on what we got to watch during that Noah event. I mean, 60, 70,000 fans at the Tokyo Dome. And in 2023, given where we're at with the pandemic, yeah, medyo nag-loosen na rin ata yung restrictions ng Japan when it comes to cheering. So there, those are all our thoughts with the week in wrestling. We still have the audio only part to go, so go check that out when it drops on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Tomorrow we'll talk about toxic positivity, Mustafa Ali, Carl Fredericks' WWE name, Eddie Thorpe, and fleshed out thoughts on Ariel Helwani and some AEW talk as well, mostly revolving around the seeming heel turn of the Blackpool Combat Club minus Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. Right? Anything that you guys want to plug before we get out of here? Emil, let's start with you.
Just follow me on TikTok at the ML Meister 22. I just post sports opinions there and stuff. And also follow me on Twitter at the ML Meister 22. Oh no, EML Meister.
All right. Igaro, you had that new article on Fabio Makisig.
Yes. Please go check out my new article on Fabio Makisig's diet. It's on multisport.ph. It's one of the first things there. We talk about how he bulked up this entire time, but it's not just about wrestling. It's not just about looking like a wrestler. It's also good advice or some advice for people who might be underweight, tapos they want to look bigger, they want to pack on more meat on the bones. He puts out some really interesting insights, but it all boils down to eating more, and he tells me how he goes about eating more. So go check that out. Also, MWF is about to tape very soon. We're gonna do it in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be at Fitness Playground PH in Quezon City. It's a really, really nice venue. I am told, and I'm yet to find out. But if you can come, if you're in the North area, you want to see some live wrestling, you want to see me do my thing on the commentary booth, please do check it out. It's on March 5, and you can buy tickets at tickettome.net, or if you support MWF on Gank for only $10 or on 500 something pesos, you get free access to it, and you also get access to the entire library of Action Novela TV episodes. So a lot of good stuff. My work is on there, and if you want to catch more of that, low-key shilling my stuff as well. ManilaWrestling.com if you want to go sign up for Gang. Naman. And follow us on TikTok at Wrestling to Xpod.
All right. For me, I dropped the first teaser for On Deck with Stan C Season 5. That's going to start next Wednesday, March 1. So watch out for that on your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And ito, just open call to whoever is still listening. Please don't go after Disney+. Huwag naman kayong maging angry mob to go against Disney+. Right? Sobrang simple request. Like, don't be a dick towards Disney+. You can ask them for Tagalog commentary if that's your issue. I have no control over that. We're trying to work it out on our end. But don't form an angry mob and go after Disney+.
I mean,
right?
I mean, nakukulangan din ako. Like, I admit, nakukulangan din ako sa content ng Disney Plus. But I think that it's still a good deal, especially for a lot of casual wrestling fans who maybe only just want to watch the big shows, like pay-per-views, PLEs every month. That's enough for them, I know that not everyone is like you and me na gusto ng buong library on of the entire history of Raw, SmackDown, ECW, NXT, WCW even. But, they're doing their best. And I think it's only, there's nowhere to go but up from here.
Yeah,
it's
I think they're trying, and
Yeah.
eventually there's gonna be more content over there than there is right now.
Yeah, I miss the network too. Pero mura na nga siya. Like I already like the fact that I'm paying for one less stream, and it's cheaper than
yeah.
both Netflix and WWE Network. So I'm already cool with that.
It's not the end of the world naman
Yeah,
at
di
this
ka
point.
mamamatay.
Yeah. Di ka
Emil,
Di
ikaw nga,
papat-
nilalike mo nga yung mga tweets eh. Huwag ka.
Oh, I just like everything on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. The no one will kidnap your family if you like
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. Right? So don't form an angry mob. Be reasonable, don't be a dick. All right? On that note, thank you to our producers over at PNA for all of the legwork that they do behind the scenes. Please make sure to follow the podcast everywhere at Wrestling Podcast, or if you're on TikTok or Twitter at Wrestling2XPod. Individually, it is at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, at EML_Meister, at Rowiz War, and at _Stan C. Enjoy your special non-working day tomorrow as we pay tribute to, or commemorate rather, yung EDSA revolution back in 1986. Sige, Ro, one last thing to say.
Yeah, if you're looking for hard to find content, wrestling content, not just WWE, other promotions as well. I actually give this out. I am your plug. If you need this, like Emil knows, right? Stan knows. The way to do that is to sign up for our Patreon.
All right, there you have it. On behalf of Ro Moran and Emil ASH, my name is Stan C, reminding everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and again, don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out.
Peace.